Ladies and gentlemen, our next master speaker is Mr. Markus Asch, and he will be taking us through technology today and tomorrow and the potential impact on facility management companies. In fact, he's the Deputy Chief Executive Officer and the Vice Chairman of the Management Board at Alfred Karcher, Germany, and he's also the President of the Management Board at E-United Cleaning and the European Cleaning Machines Association. He's also the Chairman of VDMA, German Engineering Federation. So let's have a warm round of applause, and please help me welcome our next master speaker, Mr. Markus Asch.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to share with you some of our thoughts and how we would evaluate the part of the facility management industry that our technology applies to, and that's more the cleaning side. We have no basic understanding of what we just have heard the last 30 minutes on construction, but we usually step in with our technology when everything is constructed and then the way how to maintain. And especially when it comes to cleaning, value maintenance, and so on. So for the next while, I would like to share with you a little bit of our thoughts of the trends today that we see in technology and some of the effects that we will see then in facility management, especially on the cleaning side. We would like to share also with you some of the changes that we would expect, but also some of the things that we need to prepare from other industry, from other thoughts, from trends in the market that we see in other industries, and how will they affect our industry. Before I go into the technology, maybe a couple of words about Karcher, because some of you don't know the company. We only understand cleaning and value maintenance. That's our basic understanding. That's what we focus, and that's what we have been focusing on the last 80 years. The company had a pretty okay development in the last few years. We are a little bit more than a 2 billion company, sustainable development, focusing exactly on what I just mentioned. That's what we understand. That's what we focus on. Now, when it comes to innovation, our DNA of the company is extremely focused on innovation. We concentrate on that. We have about 900 engineers that focus on that, and more than that, we concentrate on patents and that provide value into our solutions. Why is that so important? Cleaning, quite different maybe to a product like a running shoe or an iPhone or something else. Cleaning is an application. So it's not a product. It's not about a vacuum cleaner or about a scrubber dryer or about a pressure washer or about something else. It's about understanding the full process. And only when you do this, you can provide the right solution at the right place. And that's why it's important to adapt those technology to the various areas. Cleaning of a hotel is a totally different one than cleaning of an industrial facility. Cleaning an industrial facility of like in mining is again totally different than in healthcare. So what's extremely important that we adapt our solutions and our understanding, our basics structures towards the various application. So much about Karcher, just a few words that you can correlate it probably before we now go into the details. For the next few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to focus on some of the trends that we see in the marketplaces, that we see outside of our industry and also inside of our industry. Are they affecting us? Will they affect us in the future? And some of the consequences that we see there in moving forward. These are the 7 trends that we believe are affecting our industry, the facility management and the cleaning industry. And I would like to elaborate now in a few more words to understand why do we believe there is changes coming up and there is technologies that we need to understand. First of all, when we look at globalization, the world has become extremely connected. Everything is extremely connected, everything is fragile. Today, when there is problem in Brazil, you see it right away because you lack of resources for some of the products that you need later on. So everything is extremely connected. And that means one of our tasks as equipment supplier as well as companies who use them, we have to be extremely adaptive, extremely fast. Why? in the past we could set a standards for the next few years, and we could expect that this standard would stay as it is, but it will change. Things will change, it will change very fast. And when you look at the chart at the left-hand side, the growth, and maybe it's not seeable, I mentioned it to you, the growth of trade has been on average much bigger than the growth of GDP. What does it mean for us? So interconnecting trade through the world dramatically increases and has been increased during the last 40 years, and that's the good news for you also. At any point, at any time, you have access to any technology you need. We just heard about the technology that today is used in the States, how it will be transferred to India, and you will see technologies of India, how they will be transferred to somewhere else. So in the past, you had technology or access to technology because there were the right people there. This will not happen in the future. Everywhere, we will have up-to-date access to up-to-date technology. That's the good news. But in my understanding, there are also some risky news to that. Customer retention will be more than just access to some technology. Customer retention is we have to move much more into solution competence and service competence. That means total competence of providing the best solution to the customer. Because just having access to a certain technology will not be a limiting factor why a customer stays with us. Customer as a hostage of technology or as a hostage of access is no more place in the future. Let's move to the next one, demographic development. Move to next slide. And that's also, when it comes to technology, that's to me an interesting trend that we are preparing ourselves for. Today, a lot of technologies are developed in the Western world, and those technologies are then adapted to the emerging world, let me call it like this. In the future, because of how the population develops, the majority of the population development will be in Asia-Pacific region and will be in the African region. So as a fact, we are expecting that the future technologies will be developed in your regions and they will be then adapted to the Western markets. Why? Because that's where the biggest potential is happening. So today you very often say, okay, that's today's top technology. I don't really know exactly how to adopt it to my markets. Maybe it look different. Maybe the biggest solutions will be in your area and they will be then adapted to Europe and to North America because that's where the biggest population will develop in the future. But one thing is very sure, we will have a split in demographic development. In some of the countries, in some of the regions, even in your region, look at China, you have an aging population. Some of the areas you don't have a problem with aging population, but we will have it in Europe and we'll have it to some extent in the Americas. So what's the result of it? Technology will have to change. Technology will have to focus on automation, on mechanization, and making ergonomics easier. Why? Because we have to keep older people in work. Why it's required already, you see it today in Japan, you will see it in China, you will see it in Europe very strongly. So some of the technology trend will be, how can we keep people at work? How can we make life easier for people, also on facility management, especially on cleaning? Sustainability, you all know the figure. We just had the last summit in Paris in the last few weeks. Today, nobody questions that there are some changes happening. The question is, how will this affect us? And I believe there is a strong focus towards resource efficiency products and towards resource efficiency solutions. We already have many contacts with facility management companies who have to design zero emissions buildings. So what's the result of that? Also, the facility management has to focus on low or on high resource efficiency technologies. Some of those effects we will see in decentralized structures. And I had just a meeting with BMW last week. We talked about also trends in the market and what's happening. And can you imagine that a company like BMW is now investing into decentralized battery storage facilities? So what they use, because today with all this wind power and solar panels, we need to store electricity. So some of the companies are now investing into decentralized storage areas, and what they use the batteries of their electric cars. How does this affect facility management companies? You might have to include technology in your facility management, like battery storage, like transmission of energy, that today was not a similar part. In the past, we had big power plants supplying many locations. Today, we have many locations, again, supplying multiple locations. If we move on to healthcare, and I believe there is also a trend that we need to understand. We are moving from societies more and more from information society also into a knowledge-based society. Today, every information is available everywhere. So just to have knowledge of the information doesn't make sense. The question is more, what do we do with this knowledge? So it takes at the end very much the people, beside technology, to apply that knowledge. So everything will be focused in the future to keep the people at work, to keep the people busy. So today there's a big discussion of Internet of Things, how it will get people out of business. Yes, it will get people at least standardized, low-scale people or low-scale jobs out of business, but it will involve much more people in combining knowledge, combining understanding. So everything that keeps people in business, that keeps people healthy, will be a focus and will be a trend, and that will also apply on facility. How is it possible that today not many people talk about air quality in offices? They talk air quality. I was just in China a few weeks ago, and I had the issue with this PM problem, and everybody talks about staying away from traffic outside of the building because you had PM10 levels of 250 or 500. But what's about inside the buildings? If you open the door, open the window just slightly, you have exactly the same PM levels inside. Most of the time of the people, they spend at the office. So what do? Things will come up, things will pop up that are more important for us in the future, and we need to get prepared for that. Another trend that we see, first of all, coming from a consumer, and how will they affect us? It's individualism. People don't want to have something off the shelf. People want to have something very individual for them. They want to understand, they want to have their very solutions. And there's a funny thing on the consumer side, you probably know M&Ms, the little candies, on the internet you can actually personalize them for you. So this is a low-cost item that can be personalized. How does this apply to us? To come to a customer and explain to him, that's exactly the solution that I have for you, will be no solution in the future. To individualize solutions, to adapt them individually to the customer's need, is a trend that people learn from their private life, and they want to have it in their business life as well. So why is that important for us? Because we need to adapt our solutions exactly to the requirements of the customers. And for that, we need to have information that we don't have today. We need to know exactly what is happening at the customer's place, at that very facility, at that very building. We need to know traffic of the building. We need to know occupancy of the building. We need to know exactly what's happening in order to define exactly the right solution. And together with that, we see a trend that consumers become prosumers or become producers at the same time. We call it a trend of prosumers. And therefore, totally new business models pop up. Everybody know Uber. Today, Uber has a market capitalization of more than $50 billion US. How many taxis do they own? 0. How many taxi companies with maybe hundreds of thousands of taxis there are with a market capitalization of 50 billion? 0. What's the value of Uber? They look exactly at the customer needs because they know exactly where you are. They know exactly what you need at that time. They make it convenient for you, and that's it. They don't own any taxi. The consumers that drive cars, they become producers. They also take their cars and make them available. Apply this to facility management and to cleaning. Maybe in the future, the knowledge exactly of the application, the knowledge exactly of the customer's needs, it's superior to having actually the technique in your hands. So maybe you can outsource some of the techniques, but to be the customer interface could be crucial in the future. Urbanization happens especially in the Asia-Pacific region, but also happens in other parts of the region. That's, for example, 2 pictures of Shanghai, and similar pictures probably happen in Delhi, Mumbai, and other cities. But what does it take? So people more and more move into cities. So new forms will apply. New forms, people don't live outside and they travel into the city and travel out. So some of the recreational areas that are outside of the city will have to be moved into the city. And how does this apply to facility management companies? Different tasks might combine. We have heard it already in the first presentation that there will be a combination of landscaping and facility management. You will see more of this popping up because those requirements have to be combined. Technology. In the past, Mr. Ford said in the early 1900s, you can have, if you buy a car from me, you can have any color as long as it is black. What did he say? I want to mass produce one thing. We went from mass producing to more standardized systems. Now again, we are at mass producing, but individual. And what I mentioned at the beginning, people want to have their individual solution. The big challenge is how do we mass produce individually, and that's what we call Industry 4.0 or Internet of Things. Everything has to be adapted to the need of everybody. Beside that, technology change in terms of materials. Have we thought that you can build an airplane with more than 50% plastic that has 50 degrees Celsius down when it waits to be taken off, and it has minus 50 degrees when it's up there? So that's today possible. And together with the materials that happen, also battery technology rapidly changes. Today you can have a Tesla, a car that runs 500 kilometers and that can be charged at least 50% in less than 20 minutes. But what does it take? And that's again coming to facility management companies. Suddenly you have to have big power resources at the places where people work, where people are, because they need to charge their systems in the future. I mean, we are talking to car companies and they say you need power plants close where people park because suddenly huge power requirements are required in a very short time. But the main message there, battery technology has developed into a quality that allows us on the machinery place to have battery machines that we didn't have in the past. The time will come. It's probably not in 2 years, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10 years, where you as facility management companies will have no corded devices anymore. Because the corded device to plug in, plug out takes much too much time. And it kills so much efficiency that battery-driven technology will also move into that direction. Another thing that we can learn, and we have also heard it in the first presentation already this morning, some of the trends that are happening. Autonomous driving is going to be the big move in the future. We will see, maybe in 2020, experts are pretty sure, in 2020 we will see autonomous driving of cars. And maybe in 2030 it will be forbidden to drive by ourselves. Why? Because computer can do it much better. There will be much less traffic accidents. Today, I don't know the percentage of traffic accidents are human failure, so computer will do that. So what it happens, it needs to have different intelligence systems and different communication, car-to-car communication. How will that be applied? At the end, the communication is the crucial thing between buildings and locations, buildings and machines, buildings and people who do the management, who do the cleaning. That communication will drive efficiency, and that's what we will learn from the automotive industry, because the automotive industry will be pushing for that technology like there's no tomorrow. Can we increase the sound a little bit?
We're taking you on a journey into the future. Follow us into the year 2020, where we will learn more about the trend universe. In the year 2020, technology is shy. It can feel and empathize with human behavior. Computers have become invisible. They're smaller, more flexible, and modular today. Technology has become a core component of all everyday objects. We can find out all the latest news and information every morning while in front of the bathroom mirror, and use intuitive gesture control to navigate our way through all the content. ShyTech will be a central feature of the working world. All surfaces are multi-touch enabled and capable of visualizing all forms of data. Objects communicate independently with their immediate surroundings. The classic media formats are given a completely new look by ShyTech. Products will be smart. Technology will be hidden for greatest customer convenience. Timeless time. Time is the resource in shortest supply. It has to be used effectively and planned efficiently. In our connected surroundings, a wide range of assistance will offer us continuous support. All processes will run automatically in the background. Our daily lives can therefore be adapted to our dynamic surroundings.
So, thank goodness nobody of us can predict the future, but we have to work on it. And there's a couple of information that I think are extremely important to us. One, experts, that's the latest statistics I saw, experts do expect that in the year 2020 we have 4 billion connected people, but, and that's important, we have 25 billion connected devices. What does it mean? Any information everywhere is available anytime for everybody. And that's what we need to prepare for. That means we know exactly what's happening everywhere. The intelligence will be not to know that. That's what I talked before, information society. The question is how to apply this, how to combine this knowledge, how to make that knowledge available for the benefit of our customers. And connecting intelligence will be the crucial part of it. It will be crucial how to understand what does it mean to have that information, how to combine that and use it for the benefit of facility management and cleaning. I want to summarize a couple of impacts that I directly see on facility management companies. First of all, reduce of waste and materials will be crucial. So we will look at technologies, and that's just one single example, that vacuum in the past took a lot of energy. Today we have vacuumings in place that have 40% less energy, that by using that you can save, compared to the conventional technology, a lot of energy. And already many customers of ours, they choose that because they say that's their value, and that's their value add towards CO2 saving. Technology in terms of battery, I mentioned battery. The time will come, as I mentioned before, where you will not see corded machines in facility management. You will see just battery machines because they will drive the necessary efficiency into that structure. And because of aging society and because of elderly people, but because of efficiency, we will have to focus on replacing manual work by mechanization and by automation. And I can show you many samples how this happens today and how this will happen in the future, even in lower wage cost country, because they will apply the necessary productivity and they will ensure quality standards. I can jump through it because there are many indoor, outdoor, outside of the facility, inside of the facility. Many things like this will happen. And they will happen because of efficiency, but also because of quality. If you want to reduce fine dust, you have to stop sweeping. And you have to start vacuum sweeping outside. And this will be a crucial thing. Already I hear in India, you have issues with PM 2.5 and PM 10 in the market. So there will be lots of pressures moving into that directions. Another point is, if you want to apply technology properly, life has to be easier. If you look, for example, at typical cleaning machines in the past, they almost looked like a cockpit in an airplane. Today, technology has to serve that, has to make life extremely simple, has to adapt to the various applications without having to train people forever. One of the biggest tasks of facility management and cleaning is, how do I train my people? And one of it will be the training in the future, but the other one, technology has to support and has to help that training becomes much more easier. And there are many other examples I can jump. Construction site, part of facility management is construction. There we see a clear trend towards health and safety. What happened in the past, that the people used their lung as a filter for dust. That's not the ideal solution. So the technology has to prevent the dust being captured by the lungs of the people, because today already a tremendous part of illness is everything around fine dust. So we see tremendous pressure in some of the markets, also from public authorities, towards fine dust solutions, even during the construction site. Let me move to the second last one. I call it connected cleaning. Whenever we talk to facility management and cleaning companies, they say, you know, when we buy the machines from you, after that, they're gone in the Bermuda Triangle. We don't really where they are, we don't know how much they are occupied, and we have systems out there where they say, oh, I didn't know that there is a machine. They buy a new machine, they buy new solutions, they are not aware of today's technology. So some of them is, you have to consolidate all the machines into a tracking system. We call it a fleet, but there are other solutions out there that help exactly do that. They connect all the machines. They know where are the machines, how much are they occupied. Is it the right machine for the right application? Do we have to switch to a smaller one, to a bigger one? Look at the total application and then improve efficiency. So the point, in my understanding, is over where you change, where you try to sub-optimize just the machine. This will also happen, but you have to sub-optimize the process. In order to sub-optimize the process, it's crucial to know it, to see it, to visualize it, or as I mentioned before, to combine the data that are available or will be available in the future. So, but the next point, and we also heard it in the first presentation already, the next point, what about combination building knowledge with cleaning knowledge? Why are we cleaning a meeting room that nobody was in? Or why are we cleaning offices where the people were on holiday? But today we have no knowledge. We might be able to see it. So only when we combine knowledge of the building with the knowledge of the process, then we can drive efficiency. So that's exactly what is going to happen in the future, or what will happen in the future. And if you have maybe an outlook in the future, what could happen? That's still a dream. But we could very well be that the building communicates to the person. The person that wants to have the cleaning drives on an app, say, my office needs to be cleaned, my desk needs to be cleaned. That is communicated to the cleaner. The cleaner does exactly what it takes, cleaning on demand instead of standardized cleaning. That is not good enough in high frequency area and is too good in low frequency area. So adopt towards the clear need of the people. That will be one of the driver. You might ask yourself the question, that comes to the last point, what about robotics? Are robotics something in facility management and cleaning? In my understanding, it's going to happen. But there are different tasks. When you look at office cleaning, hugely complex. When you look at cleaning of corridors, cleaning of big hallways, cleaning of big areas, that's where robotics will concentrate. And that's then becomes the big question, how can they properly communicate with the cleaner? So that robotics does everything, I don't see it at present, it will take many, many years, but that they interact and carefully communicate with the cleaner. That, for example, details are done by the cleaner, big areas are done by robotics, and therefore efficiency is being driven. That's one of the major areas. Let me come to a conclusion. The technology that we see, Internet of Things, Cleaning 4.0, Industry 4.0, anything one of those areas, autonomous driving in cars, they will help us drive efficiency into our solution. The major change will not only be driven by technology. The major change will only happen if we communicate well and if we work closely together. If from building facility management together with cleaning we understand what is required and we combine that knowledge, we drive that knowledge into efficiency of processes, then we see substantial quality improvement without price increases. Why? Because it can be driven out of efficiency. Last one, as I'm from the cleaning industry, please accept it as a wish. Awareness of cleaning is still not good enough even in facility management. Facility management today invests thousands of euros or dollars into a nice coffee machine, and they reduce cleaning at the offices because it's not visibly seen. But when it comes to cleaning, cleaning is a basic need of society. When you look at the requirements, it comes after the standard of living. Already cleaning is important. So a focus on that will drive customer satisfaction and will drive health in the future. Thank you very much. So if I understood it right, questions should be asked in the breaks, or do we have time for questions? 5 minutes. Questions? You take.
We do have room for a question in case we do have any queries. If you may please raise your hands, we could have the mic passed on to you. All right, then in that case, I'm going to request them to please connect with you, Mr. Markus, offline as well. Thank you very much once again.
You.
Let's have a huge round of applause to thank Mr. Markus.